the red dragon and the sheep. The return of Nibiru. To begin solving the mystery of the planet known as the seed, let's look at the seed. The seed is used as a metaphor for fruit, the seed or sperm of a man, knowledge, Adam's rib, the true meaning of which I will share with you shortly, Esau, the red seed of the red Isaac, Jesus or Esu, and the red dust from which the red Adam was taken. I explain the hidden story of the red dust of Genesis 2 in more detail also at the inner circle. This woman who was engaged in this theft was pregnant with twins, probably a metaphor for being full of knowledge of two-sided DNA, or the Serpenta, as it's called, or you can call it the serpent. We'll get to that momentarily. And was ready to deliver or bring to earth that with which she could no longer contain. Just as someone who has knowledge of a big secret, for instance, they think that they must deliver. See Revelation 12. One of the children was Jesus, whose name really should be Esu, E-S-U, or Kingu, as he is called in the Sumerian creation epic called the Enuma Elish. This child was killed and went to be with the Father, just as it says in chapter 12 of Revelation. The other child was from Satan, and I'll get to that in a moment. Suffice to say for now, the two quote-unquote kids were merged to create us. These can be seen as the good seed and the bad seed, Cain and Abel, Jacob and Esau, Isaac and Ishmael, or Jesus, or Esu, and his twin, that is referred to in a shrouded manner in Revelation chapter 12. No matter how you look at it, these stories of the mixing of the seed that was stolen with the seed of man. That's what these stories are about. This is also the story of the iron mixing with clay in Daniel chapter 2, verse 43. The seed mixed with the clay of man is from the evil child of the woman, Jesus or Esu's twin, who, Genesis 12 tells us, will rule over us with a rod of iron. This is currently the situation in our world. I've said before many times that because we can do something does not mean that we should. And there has never been a more glaring example of what can happen than the situation that has been brought about in our world today, which was a result of the rebellion of this woman. And once again, I'll remind you that the name Mary, the mother of Jesus, or Esu, means rebellious. We've seen the devastating results of a world that embraces technology, and they don't fully understand in the form of genetic and chemical manipulations going on today with Monsanto, the GMOs, the sheep, stem cell research, pharmaceuticals, and on and on. And this woman, just like many scientists today, was seduced or beguiled by the knowledge she had of the Serpenta, S-E-R-A-P-E-N-T-A, which is a metaphor for DNA in its current form, which I will explain momentarily, which she stole from the Father, the fig tree, or the red planet Nibiru, whose name means the same thing, one's own fruit tree. She was not necessarily seduced by an actual serpent, although the jinn, G-I-N, from which she got this knowledge are said to be from Saturn, as I'll show below, and are said to be reptilian. What this woman stole and misused was knowledge of how to mix the rib or figs with material that she received from the jinn. This information was contained in what the Sumerians refer to in their logogram HAR, which is a spiral arm bracelet of silver or other precious metal. They're one and the same. What it really depicted, however, was DNA code, such as the law, as in Hammurabi's code, and it is the same thing that is incorrectly translated as the table of testimony that was put into the ark, upon which we are told the law was written. Once again, a metaphor for genetic code. One version of the Bible, however, from the 1800s, does translate the word table properly as tabat, and renders it as an arm bracelet. The word ark in the Bible is Aron, A-R-O-W-N, in the Hebrew, and translates as the logograms Har, H-A-R, and Un, U-N, in Sumerian, which literally means Har of the people, or you could say hair of the people. Knowing that the H-A-R, the Har, represents DNA as the spiral arm bracelet, therefore, what it really means when it states in Exodus 25:16 and 40 verse 20 that they were to put the table, or Har, into the ark, the Har-Un, is that Moses was receiving instructions to insert the genetic code, Har, that he was given into the genetic code, Har, of the people, Un. This was literally genetic manipulation that was going on, and a blatant misuse of the father's seed that was stolen, as well as an abrogation of his instructions or law. You may be wondering why you've never heard this in church. Well, for obvious reasons. You're not supposed to know these things. They've hidden this for millennia. The